Have you ever been searching the internet when you just stumble across a YouTube channel with a super interesting person and you're looking at this person's videos, and in this case it would be Whitney Meza. Then you go to Instagram and you just type in Whitney and pops right up. And you're looking at her pictures and you just looked at her videos and you're thinking to yourself, is this person really this interesting? Or is this fake? Wait, she has kids? She's always smiling? She goes to amazing places? Rides dirt bikes? What is this woman? And so you just think to yourself, this can't be real. Well, I got to meet Whitney Meza, and Curtis and I brought her into the After Hour studios and got to sit with her, which was supposed to be a 15-minute interview. Here is part one of the Whitney interview.
Hi, and welcome back, everybody. We are After Hours. It's Indian Rider Radio. I'm Curtis Sawyer, alongside my co-host, Ridingfish. And this week, we have got another interesting lady that we want to talk to who understands a little bit about everything when it comes to riding, being a mom, and being a military wife, too. So, going to be interesting to meet Whitney Meza. Ridingfish, what have you been up to this week, my man? I understand you're hanging in Texas.
I am hanging in Texas. You know, when you're good at your job, they send you to help other people. So here I am in Texas with no motorcycle.
Wait a minute. You're sure that it's because you're good at your job?
No, I have a talking problem. I make them think I'm good at my job.
Right. And I was going to say, maybe they're just taking a break from you. You don't know.
I have been in this hotel for 2 days. They're not putting me to work. I don't know.
Which is why we have been busy all day. Look at what you've done to us now. You booked us till 1 o'clock in the morning. And I helped. So I don't know what that's about.
1 o'clock your time. That's 2 o'clock in Texas.
Well, congratulations. It'll be closing time. Good. You know, let's order them up and call and get the job done. So first, and as long as we're right here, this is a young lady you met when you were in Sturgis. And we are excited to talk to her because she is another one of those representations of the new modern motorcycling mom. And that makes her exciting. That makes her interesting. And how did you guys meet one another, Ridingfish?
Well, I think Big Gabe and I woke you up, right? We came rolling in about 2 in the morning the first night we got to Sturgis. And Sturgis.
Yep. I was car camped out. So some of the motor vloggers that rented out kind of an Airbnb, I took up a parking spot in their driveway and car camped at their spot for that night.
Okay, so all right, there the conversation just already went off the rails. You're car camping in their driveway.
Yes.
A lot of people call that squatting or trespassing. Whitney, I don't know exactly which one is which, but how?
No, man, first camping. I don't know what. It was more comfortable for me to find somebody that I may know or feel a little bit more comfortable than parking on the side of someone's house that's like at downtown Sturgis. So yeah, we'll go that route.
Weren't you offered a couch? Like, I came to the show late. Okay, I was going to say, come on, we could do better than that.
I was going to say, I know the people that were at that house, they should have been way more hospitable.
Oh, they did. But for me, I just felt more comfortable. I didn't want to intrude. I wasn't paying rent or anything from them there. So I just, took up a spot.
It was worth dropping it. So I always ask, whether it's on my show or on this one, how did moto vlogging and videoing and doing all this, how did that come together? Because you've got your hands full already. You're a military mom and you got 2 little ones and your husband's deployed, I understand. So you're busy. You have a lot of stuff on your plate. So how does video blogging come into that whole picture?
I think it's more of like an outlet for me. So I'm pretty much a full-time wedding photographer. Oh, okay. So I know the photography side of my camera, but I wanted to adventure more into the video. And I had watched a handful of moto vloggers before, and I thought, you know what? I have all of these, it was pre-COVID, all these women events that I'm planning on going to this year that I want to document and record for myself. And I was like, you know what, I might as well just start this adventure and see where it takes me. So after the first 2 or 3 moto vlogs, I was like, this is fun. This is addicting. I want to keep going. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. So I started in April of this year. So
Excellent. Well, let's see. Well, so yeah, our podcast started in March, so you were right there
that's
with it.
fantastic.
Yeah, and you said the same thing, Fish. When you first started getting involved in shooting stuff for yourself, the next thing you knew, it was going addictively. You were just in it now.
Yeah, you get a little bit of feedback from somebody and you're just like, hey, wow, that person likes it. Hey, and I like it. And I think I could do this again. And then you do this thing called expectations, right? And so then you're like, but I want to get better. At least that's what I do. I'm always like, I need to get better at what I'm doing. And so that leads to the next one and the next one, because the next time you do something, you're going to do it better than this time.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and it seems like a lot of fun. And Whitney, you have this running dialogue with us in your helmet, obviously, and that just rolls out of the top of your head.
Yes, pretty much. But part of me catches myself because I'm from the Midwest, so I've got a thick Midwest accent, and
Hey,
I
they
don't
said they were
know.
going to the Twin Cities.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, is that useful to you?
Oh, you betcha, yeah.
Accent, and I don't notice it, but I'm sure anybody else probably around the world is thinking other than me, but it's probably entertaining from their side of it.
But is it not the beauty of the whole menu and the whole video thing that
Yes.
you just be you and let people say whatever they're going to say and have whatever fun you're going to have? Probably why it scares the daylights out of me. I could hide behind the microphone here in video. Look at that. See, isn't that frightening? I mean, for crying out loud. But you guys, this is something that I think is important, and you wanted to point it out. So let's go there. Expressing motorcycling, the experience to women.
Mhm.
Now, again, it's only been in the last few years that lady riders have come to the forefront and are now, again, the largest growing segment of motorcycling.
Absolutely.
But that's only recently. So it's a lot of uncharted water out there.
Mm-hmm. But I think I was the one that pushed my husband and I to get a motorcycle when we first walked into the dealership. So I kind of hook, line, and sinker before I started to kind of get the ball rolling. So from my end, I knew this was always something I wanted to do. I wanted to ride. And it was just, I guess, building up the courage and the money to do so, and finally taking that step. So for me, it's just, I wish I would have started sooner, but I'm glad I started when I did. And I'm still a young mother, and I have those moments with my children that, they're only young for so long, but we're also only young for so long. And so you have to kind of twofold enjoy yourself, but also enjoy parenthood too. So.
Well, Fish, you have the same thing. You have a little one at home and you're trying to
Mhm.
travel and do these things and strike that balance that, let's face it, it's hard. It's hard. I mean, even this evening, my wife and I had plans until we didn't. And here we are, and that's okay. But she understands that. So how do you make that time commitment? Or, Fred, you and I have talked about this. You said that if it's something you're passionate about, something that you're enjoying, that you want to do, you find the time, you find the energy, right?
I do.
You said that to me a couple of times. Whitney, would you say that's true?
Absolutely true.
Yeah.
I am like a planner and organizer to the max. And so if I have a way that I've got an hour to maybe go do some work, but I can ride to go to that place or that coffee shop or something like that, and dual purpose what I'm trying to moto vlog, but also work at the same time, I try to fill it in as much as I possibly can. And thank God for babysitters and parents and my siblings that can help me out from the adventure side of it and longer term stuff.
Well, I think it's great because one of the things that is so endearing to the moto vloggers I enjoy, let's put it that way, and you are one of those, is you guys are a little self-effacing. I mean, you just picked on yourself horribly about being blonde in the other day in your other video and learning something new about your motorcycle too, even.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's always, and that's where I've wanted to push myself out of my comfort zone. And so I've had my sporty for almost 3 years now. And my next big milestone for me was to ride a bigger bike. And so my husband has his Fat Boy in the garage, and I've never ridden it since I like pretty much purchased it for him. So I've never got on it the last 2 years, and he goes, why don't you try? So that was the start of like April. And I was like, you know what, maybe I can do this. And so I started, and I kept going and I kept going. And then I rented a bike out in Sturgis, the low rider, that I didn't realize had a 6th gear until I got on the highway. And I was like, oh dang, I am not on my sporty anymore. I'm living in luxury. It feels like I can know what gear I'm in. But then I adventured even farther, and so my Sturgis trip moved me kind of out west. I met up with another Instagram friend, I suppose, rode her Indian Scout. And
You're gonna probably make me want to buy. Let's go. This is awesome. So I'm out riding with Abby. AC Outdoors out in Wyoming, Idaho. Actually, we're in Idaho right now. I am on her 2017 Indian Scout.
And I was like, I need to try more brands. Like, it just kind of opened up my like experience to like, I was like, okay, now I need to try a dual sport. Now I need to try a dirt bike. Now I need to all of these things. And so it just kind of led to one to another. So,
yeah, welcome to addiction.
Pretty much. Anything with 2 wheels or 3 wheels, I will definitely want to try.
Anymore, you just put it right in there. Just poke it right in there and be done.
Yep.
I think it's fascinating that you get that introduction, and then you promised yourself it would be something you would do later in life, but you didn't put your toe in the water. You dove all the way in.
Oh, all the way, yeah. Once you just give me an inch, I'm going to take a mile and run for it. So there was one time where I went to a dealership and they were allowing me to ride the live wire. And so she goes, all right, have fun. And I said, all right, nobody's coming with me. I can just take this bike and go. All right. So I pretty much took it for as long as I possibly could. And
oh, girl. Yeah. See, she's learned already. That's
right.
No, you told me this. She was new at this.
Oh,
well, I am. So we got our endorsements 8 years ago, but I took like a 4 or 5 year hiatus when my son was born.
Again, as a moto vlogger, part of the object of the exercise is to share the experience.
Yep.
But you truly want to, I guess you want to aim it right at those girls, those ladies that are thinking, okay, I need something that's me.
Yeah.
Because I can tell it fits you like a glove. But I had another female guest here a while back. Star Bomber was talking about how it was so key to her to have the time to ride, because if she was able to do that, she comes back, she's a better mom, she's a better employee, she's a better wife, she's all those things, because she has something that is hers, she's passionate about, and her time is well spent doing it.
Absolutely. You're going to be a better person because of it. My thing is, you just find the thing that works best for you, whether it's that's pampering, going to the spa, whatever it is. That's not my forte. If you tell me I've got a dirt bike ready to go, or I can ride until like the next town over for so long, instead of doing a spa day, I'm going to take that up completely. But it's just, you got to find that thing that works for you. And if riding is one of those things that you may want to try, or you haven't tried before, or it is something that it is, then take full advantage of that time riding.
So what about Instagram? How does, as everyone is now well aware, both Fish and I are still trying to figure out and find our way around Instagram. Okay.
It's so bad. It's so
crippling bad is what it is.
Listen, we're not all wedding photographers.
Dude, I get on Instagram, I immediately look like I should be there for a pharmaceutical commercial.
Not at all.
For Christ's sake, I'm pushing 60 years old here. I should be doing the diuretics and stuff. No. So I get on there. I'm trying to find my way around. Keep in mind that I've just recently mastered Facebook. All right. So now here I am. Well, I shouldn't say mastered. I play with it. But what I'm getting at is how does that drive people to like the videos and that kind of thing for you? Because obviously, pretty blonde girls attract attention no matter where they go. They add insult to injury when they put a motorcycle underneath them.
It just adds more to it.
Yep. And then when they go all Instagram on us, well, you understand.
Yeah.
So how does it come together?
I started my Instagram account more for my photography business. Actually, before then I was a blogger. So like I was just sharing our like wedding and newlywed experience, and it grew into my photography business and promoting that. But I found that I really enjoyed sharing more of the personal side of it, and being a photographer and having just those squares of photos come through. I'm just truly addicted to seeing what's out there from that side of it. So the more I can share from my end, and I think it's I gravitate towards the connection. So like finding those other female riders that are out there all throughout the world, just kind of keeping, I don't want to say close tabs on them, but like keeping connected with them. Because when I went left Sturgis and went out more west, I met up with a female rider that I would have not known about at all if I hadn't been for Instagram account. So
Who was it that you saw out west?
AC Outdoors. Her name is Abby Casey. So.
Okay.
Wow. Okay, good. So yeah. So again, that goes back to growing the network, like you and I have talked about so many times. Is that the beauty of social media and modern media today? Is that you do have relationships, if you will, with some of these people. You know them, you interact with them daily, and when you run across them someplace else, it's not like running into some stranger. I mean, when this guy rolled up in my driveway the first time, I was like, "Oh, my friend's here."
Absolutely. Yep. I had Amanda Zitto. I don't know if you know her. She goes by As the Magpie Flies and Blind Thistle on Instagram. She just did a cross-country road trip from her home place all the way to the other end of the country to the ocean and back. And so I was one of those stops through Wisconsin, and I've never met her before, but she rolled into my driveway, parked in, it was downpouring rain, but we like hit it off and we talked until 2:00 in the morning. This is the first time I've met this woman in person before, but you kind of build those relationships, you know, the back end and their personalities, and you feel a little bit more comfortable with each other, that you are pretty much like a lifetime friend right away. So
I think it helps. She comes off like such a sweetheart, by the way.
is.
In her videos and stuff, she comes off like one of the nicest people in earth. So that does help. Me, I roll up to Curtis. There's reasons why he should question why this guy's coming up, revving his engine 3 blocks away, just so he knew I was coming.
Oh yeah.
That's
there
perfect.
wasn't warning signs.
I don't think my neighborhood's been the same. That's okay though. That's all right. We had
Sorry
to first
about that.
people up.
Sorry
The bar
about
has
that.
been set.
Ours been set. Well, you know, when you talk to women and you talk to, do you get those kind of responses from people that, let's say you inspired them or you demonstrated something they wanted to see? How does that make you feel? Because I don't think like any of us plan to have this major influence on others when we start doing this.
Yeah.
And suddenly we find out that someone somewhere was waiting to hear what we had to say.
Mm-hmm. They're looking for that outlet. They're looking for that connection. And so if you can be that connection and you know them personally, or they've been somehow, whether it's a friend of a friend or whatnot, if you can bridge that gap right away, it just makes things a whole lot easier. So there have been a handful of ladies, some local ladies too, that go, okay, when I, like, there's certain roadblocks or certain hiccups that they have to get through to get to do their riding. But it's like, when I do this, when I finally get a chance to ride or learn to take my course, you're going to be the first one I'm going to call and let you know if I did pass or something like that. So just making, like, allowing, how do I say this? Like allowing yourself to be that example and to share those moments and those experiences with them just kind of makes them more apt to start riding. So the more people I can get out on the roads and ride, the better. But it doesn't matter who you are, I'm just gonna pretty much enjoy it. So anytime a motorcycle rolls through our house, both kids are looking up and who's outside, and they know, like, not necessarily my vehicle, because my Sporty's quite a lot softer than my husband's Fat Boy, so you can hear him like 2 or 3 blocks down the road and they know Dad's coming for a while. Or if I'm riding the Fat Boy, it's the same kind of thing.
So your husband sounds like my kind of guy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, this is the guy that puts zombie bufflers on in his driveway and then upsets his entire neighborhood. Yeah. Tell me
I would not be offended if you were my neighbor. Let's just say that way.
No, see, you'd be offended if you were his neighbor. Trust me. Yeah.
Fair enough. If it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, then we might have a question if I wake up the kids. But
when you look at my grass and you say, has he cut his grass? And then there I go driving off on the bike. You're like, he could have cut his grass, and he's riding.
15 minutes, bro. Come on. It's not that big a deal.
Priorities. I would take that 15 minutes in a heartbeat.
Right? Every time. What she just said. Well, I mean, obviously, between the two mediums, you're trying to put a message out there. Sum it up for me. What does it look like?
Pretty much say that the sky's the limit for my sake. Like, I didn't think with all this COVID stuff that some of the events that I was supposed to do actually got canceled. And so I was still going to go forward with my like my weekends that I had planned, but just in a different direction. Like, so it was just myself with a rental bike, and that was my experience. Or I was car camping pretty much solo by myself. So just sharing that whatever is out there and whatever you're envisioning, like I really wanted to ride through Zion National Park, and I did that. And I went to Sturgis, and I kind of did that to a point. I rode through, but I didn't really take part in the downtown activities for that sake this year. But I was there. I rode through Custer State Park. I did the Needles Highway. Like, there are things on your bucket list that maybe just sitting there waiting, and I'd rather have them experienced for yourself than staying on a notepad and just waiting there year after year. And so for my sake, if I can get somebody to see that I'm doing this and they can do the same thing, or they can get out and experience whatever they wanted to do, then that's tenfold for me. So
Wow, you actually mean that. Yeah, you can tell that she got choked up at the very end when she was
I
singing.
did.
That's how you do that. How you know that? What I found fascinating with, be it yourself, Star, but all of them, you guys all echo the same sentiment: is that you can do this. It's going to be good for you. You're going to love the hell out of it. What are you waiting for? And I think that's what he does all the time. So it's no wonder he ran into you. But I mean,
exactly. I went to the Nashville Indian rental and rented a chieftain for that day, pretty much a half a day.
Yeah.
And I absolutely loved it. And then from then on, I was like, okay, well, what's next? Like, and when my husband came back from leave 2 weeks ago, we rented another Indian. So he got to ride the Chieftain. I got to ride the Challenger. And I'm like,
nice.
shoot, I need to try like more. Like, there's just all these things. I was like, now I need to ride a Triumph. Now I need to ride like an actual sport bike. Like, I'm not a person. I enjoy the cruising. I enjoy the touring. The speed part, not so much for my end of it, but like, just to get comfortable on different bikes, you kind of fit a different feeling when you ride those certain type of bikes, whatever.
The most common question you get asked?
Probably my iron butt questions are the most. And
Okay.
so I know we really haven't touched on that part at all, but I took my Sporty around Lake Michigan and did a saddle sore 1,000, so 1,000 miles in 24 hours.
Yeah,
Michigan.
on
a 2000, it was a 2003, so it's a frame mounted engine for that type. So
yeah,
not the nice new Sporties. Yeah,
Motor.
it's a 100th anniversary edition one. So yeah, it's got some shake to it.
So how tall were you when you started, and then how tall were you when you ended?
I was purely exhausted because I had to do 16 stops throughout the entire time frame. I only pushed about 100 to probably like 115 each stop, because I just didn't want to push my peanut tank that long and then find no gas. So
right, and wreck the whole thing.
It took a good while for me to do it, and I was up for probably 27, 28 hours completely. I took maybe a 15-minute nap at a local gas station here in Wisconsin, and that was it. So
I'm gonna say,
but I think it was a lot of like technical stuff from that, like what to prepare with, what to do, how I had completed it, because not a lot of people would try to do it on a smaller, not so touring bike, but that's all I had, and that was what I was comfortable on. So
it makes perfect sense then. Yeah,
I'm gonna put a link to that video in the description of this of my video. It's worth everybody watching. It's really interesting. I watched that whole thing. Curtis, you wouldn't believe it, dude. It looked like she was falling asleep at one point. Like,
there was a questionable time, like that 4 o'clock in the morning mark, that I had to literally pull over because there was no way.
Yeah, it was really, you want firsthand to watch exhaustion, you get a chance to see exhaustion. And second, you did it solo. That's a whole nother experience. A lot of the people, including myself, I've done it twice. One time I did it solo, one time I did it with friends. And with friends, being able to talk to them in the helmets, it's a whole nother experience. I don't want to say easier, but it's easier than when you're by yourself and you're trying to listen to music and vlog or whatever. And yeah, it's pretty rough.
I think for me, like having that vlogging standpoint, that made it easy for me to keep going, because I just like, okay, what's the next step? What do I want to talk about? How do I keep creating the story that I'm going to share with them. So I think from that end, it did help me, but it was kind of my nemesis too, because I was taking a lot longer for the breaks to check in on Instagram because people were following me throughout that day doing that, but then also like sharing my video experience for the motovlog, but also doing my certification for the IRONBUTT to make sure I meet the standards and requirements for that stuff too. So yeah, it was a catch-22.
By the way, I've done it twice. You know how many certificates I have? 0. You know how many times I've mailed in all my receipts? 0.
Really?
I don't know. It's here. I did a video on it. I did a whole video on it with 4 of us. And I never mailed in I still have them. They're still good. I have everything. I have pictures. I've done. Maybe I'll tell myself I need to send that in.
And the first time I did 1,000 miles under 24 hours, I didn't know there was such a thing. It was a goddamn necessity. I have to get where I'm going, and I don't have time for this shit. You know, is what about it.
That was how I did my first one. I went from Denver, Colorado to San Diego.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just did it straight through shot. So
you do sum up one thing that all of you have in common. It's not just about the ride. It's about the experience.
Mm-hmm.
It's about going and doing and being a part of whatever it is. And that seems to be universal in, I want to say, new to motorcycling women. And you guys are just pushing the whole bar way up the scale. And I love it. It's awesome.
I think for me, it's okay. Putting into perspective, like you're an adult and you're trying to make friends. It's super hard to do unless you're like very extroverted and you can make those friends. Like for me, I'm not that way, but I want to find like-minded individuals. And so the easiest way I can do that is through that social media standpoint. And I think that's what I gravitate towards, is that these individuals, you have that common bond of riding, but you just instantly become that friendship with one another. And so if I can make those friendships and build those friendships a lot easier through motorcycling and riding 2 wheels, then that makes it, I guess, easier on my part than having to just show up to somebody and be like, you're a complete stranger. I know nothing about you. And how do I connect with you? And so for mine, I think that's what I enjoy the most. I love checking out new places, but I'm a solo traveler. I enjoy doing that part of it, but I also love to make friends with other riders from anywhere pretty much. So.
Well, and that's what we're all looking for when we get on whether it's YouTube or a podcast or whatever.
Yep.
We'll hear from people like ourselves. We want to find out if they're doing the things we're doing. Are they enjoying it the way we are? Are they, is there something they've done that I can't wait to do? And now at least we're able to share that in a way that was very unique to anything I experienced in the past. And I'm enjoying the daylights out of it. And, you guys make this look so much more fun than some of us actually thought it was for a long time. So
exactly.
It's awesome. Chris, you had something. I'm sorry, I stepped
in. I was going to say, one thing that's fun, a little different about women vlogging YouTubers is you guys do a really good job of showing the adventure, when us guys sometimes we're just about, hey, listen to my loud exhaust and how fast I can go. I'm totally guilty of that. My bad. But that does keep me watching girl vloggers for that reason. The good ones are good. I watch some. Our next interview is Ozzy and the Indian. I don't know if you ever heard.
Yep.
Yeah, so we got her tonight. We're super excited. I am.
That's fun.
So this will be shots fired, and your opinion is the only one that matters.
Okay.
You rode the Street Glide and you rode the Chieftain. You had to pick one and only ride it. What would you choose?
I would choose the challenge. Wait, the Chieftain or the Street Glide? Yeah. Okay. I would choose the Chieftain.
Would you? And the Challenger beats the Chieftain?
See, that's where it comes down to looks for me. And this is where I've had an internal battle. And this is where I said I was going to probably get a touring bike. And I'm trying to talk my way through it. Like, just financially, I can't take on a loan that costs more than my vehicle right now. Like, that just doesn't make physically sense to me. Right. But I want, so I'm probably jinxing myself right now. I want that 2019, that matte white look Chieftain. Yeah. I want that in my garage. Like, that's what I would love to have as my touring bike. I just loved how I felt on the bike. It felt lighter, and it probably is a 60 or 70 pound difference. I'm not sure
Yeah.
from the street glide. I just felt heavy on the street glide. I felt clunky on the street glide. I didn't enjoy it as much. I know this is where my husband, he will have his street glide. I will probably have the Chieftain Indian. We'll both have both of those bikes in the garage. Will I ride his street glide? Absolutely. Yeah. But I will probably choose a Chieftain over that. I enjoy the dash. I just enjoy the look of it. And with that dark horse look, like that sold me completely. I am not a chrome girl at all. I've got it like 100th anniversary edition. That thing is chromed out. But I enjoy the look of it. I enjoyed the technology part. Everything to it just felt a little bit more comfortable. I was like, I could easily do a cross-country road trip on this bike if I had the time.
And the weight differences are not all that substantial. What it is weight distribution.
Yes, that's it.
Geometry.
Your husband wasn't sold on the Chieftain, huh? After riding it all day?
Yeah, I don't know. I think his heart is set on a street glide. So he rode a street glide probably a year or so ago. He did a rental out in Vegas when he was there for like military. He was out there for some schooling. He loved it. And then I put him on the Chieftain just to like, this is the bike I enjoy riding. I want you to try it. I think like style wise, it was like a bright blue and chromed out. And I think he enjoyed the chrome, but like the blue color might have been just a little bit too much for him. I don't know. He enjoyed it, but I think he's still sold on the street glide, and that's completely fine. Like I think he likes the feel of that. Like so my husband's fat boy. I don't know if you've seen a picture of it. He's got 20-inch risers on this guy, and so I attempt to ride it. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world for me, but like he enjoys that. Like I don't know. There's just something about the bike that I think he most likely will just still have that street glide, and I'm completely fine. As long as we've got 2 wheels in our garage and we can go out and do date nights, it doesn't matter to me what brand it is.
Well, Whitney, I appreciate you coming on the show today, and thank you for being candid with us and having some fun, because, you know, it's great to meet lady riders in particular, because one, I think you guys are just amazing. 2, I think it's fun that there's this. You didn't use the word empowerment once today. Okay. No. Congratulations, by the way, because I don't think it's always about empowerment. I think it's about adventure. Yeah. And I think it's about demonstrating that if I can, you can. And you do that very, very well. And it's enjoyable to watch, and you're a pleasure to meet. And I'm glad he ran into you in a driveway, sleeping in your car.
I guess.
You know, I told him the story that we were talking in the living room, how you started looking at I was
like, shit, I need to get going.
Would this guy shut the fuck up? Jesus Christ, he won't stop fucking talking. Yeah.
But this is where I'm like, I love, like, the more I can have these conversations, that's what I enjoy the most. And so I try to immerse myself in whatever possible way I can as far as motorcycling goes. And so I appreciate you two like taking the time tonight to talk with me. Like this has made pretty much my entire start of the month. Like it feels fantastic.
Wow. Slumming with us did that for her.
Hey,
all good.
Hey, when I am stuck with 2 little kids at home and I can't really leave the house, like this gives me that outlet that I can do and enjoy. And so for my sake, I really appreciate it. Well,
we're sorry it wasn't more adult conversation, but you know.
This was totally fine. Right. We didn't talk about pretty much Mickey Mouse Clubhouse or anything like that, so I'm golden. So.
All right, well, let's put Cheerios in a bag and call it good. Let's get on the road here, guys.
Put some tequila on it, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Time for a drink after hours.
Oh, it's way after hours.
Oh man. I want to say thank you for the last minute also, and coming on and letting us finally finish the conversation. And to everybody that's watching this, Meza on YouTube, awesome. Check her out. I'll have the link in my description, as well as your Instagram is Whitney Meza. Right?
Yep, just the same as my YouTube. So Meza. Yep.
Oh, okay. Well, and her Instagram is off the hook too. So I'm going to have links in the description to your stuff. And if I can influence anybody to go to your channel, they should go.
Thanks.
So
I appreciate that.
That's the end of that. And if you're ever in the La Crosse, Minnesota region, let me know. My wife and I will gladly come meet you and your husband if we're there, and we'll buy the first round.
We want to get out there. It's gorgeous around that area, or even like up north.
We like to ride down to Dodgeville a lot, so let me know. and my
You
wife and I
got
can
it.
meet you guys, and we'll buy a drink or whatever first round. So that's on me.
Nice.
You know,
Push those boundaries, push those limits, just mentally from like your inside your head. You just gotta at least take a step forward and try something new, and that's what gets you to the next step and the next adventure and the next meeting of you guys, and just kind of where it all snowballs from there. So for me, you get a little piece and little chunk of it, and you're gonna experience a whole heck of a lot more from that. So
that's the perfect parting shot right there. There's your end piece. Yeah, cool. So peace out. We've been on After Hours.
thank you.
Yeah.
After hours,
Wow.
thanks for having us. Say hi to somebody you don't know.
Or, well,
Wait, am I supposed to say that? I'm not saying that anymore.
You can say anything you want.
I mean, there's no rules, right? On After Hours.
No. There was a rule once, and
We broke it anyway. So
right, we didn't give a good goddamn about that. So why are we even?
I think it started with interviews are going to be about 15 minutes.
Oh.
Or you could go 2 hours and 15 if you
Hey,
want.
I
listen,
think we went over that just a little bit.
when they're good, you don't stop. This being part 1, keep an eye out for part 2. And giant thank you to Whitney Meza. Look for her on YouTube and Instagram. And for the full interview, go to IndianRiderRadio.com. His podcast will have the full thing. Thank you guys all for joining us, and have a great night.